Based Perpetua Resources has its sights set on revitalizing central Idaho's historic Stibnite mining district. The company wants to build 3 open-pit mines, not only for gold, but for silver and another rare element, antimony. The mining operation would sit near the South Fork of the Salmon River, the ancestral homelands of the Nez Perce people.
Today we turn our attention to a small corner of Idaho with a big environmental story, the Midas Gold Stibnite mine. Now, under the operation of Perpetua Resources, this historic site has become a focal point in the national debate over mining, ecology, and Native American sovereignty. The Stibnite mine sits in Valley County, Idaho, in the Salmon River Mountains, roughly 45 miles east of what is known as the River of No Return Wilderness Area. The nearest community is the tiny town of Yellow Pine, located on lands historically tied to the Nez Perce tribe. This is not just any mining location in the country. This land is publicly owned and managed by the U.S. Forest Service, making every decision here subject to federal oversight. Historically, Stibnite mine produced gold, silver, and antimony, supplying critical materials during World War II. Today, Perpetua Resources proposes reopening the mine, promising restoration with more environmental consciousness, but the stakes are really high, both for the environment and the local communities. Perpetua claims to have a solution that includes new water treatment plants, new waste storage, as well as restoring old stream passages, but experts warn that there's no guarantee that any of these measures are actually going to be successful. Decades of mining have actually left behind multiple hazardous toxic pollutants, such as mercury and arsenic, that are still persistent in soils and waterways at the site. Moreover, the river now runs into an abandoned pit that actually blocks a lot of endangered species, such as the Chinook salmon and steelhead trout, from their regular migration patterns. These species are not just wildlife, but they also carry lots of cultural and spiritual significance for the Nez Perce tribe and surrounding communities. However, if endangered species and rivers are on the line, why is this uncertainty not our primary concern? Federal environmental policies now play a central role in evaluating the proposed reopening of the mine. Perpetua would be in violation of the Clean Water Act, as Perpetua has a record of unpermitted arsenic and sediment discharges in the area. In 2019, the company settled for $5 million to fund water quality projects and support the Nez Perce tribe, but the strict monitoring still continues, and the tribe is not fulfilled. The project might also be in violation of the Clean Air Act, as the Idaho Department of Environmental Quality issued a permit for mining emissions, but there's still lots of concerns over dust, particulate matter, and other air contaminants that can actually lead to further legal challenges and health concerns for local communities. As previously mentioned, there's a lot of different endangered species that are actually native to the location, but that have been heavily impacted by the different mining activities that have not only disrupted their habitats, but also spawning grounds and their migration patterns have been also affected. For instance, federal wildlife agencies should closely be reviewing the potential ecological impacts that reopening the mine could have for these animals. As a result, the Endangered Species Act is also a policy to take into consideration in this case. The National Forest Management Act actually mandates that any mining activity should actually be preceded by having concrete restoration plans, mitigation strategies, in order to assure that soil, water, and forest ecosystems are actually not being destroyed in the process. And as of right now, Perpetua is not really proposing any of these. In this sense, there's a clear lack of federal oversight when it comes to monitoring and actually coming up with solutions that can restore and mitigate potential effects that the reopening of a project of this scale could actually have. Nonetheless, while these policies set the rules of the game, they only tell part of the story. Who are the people involved? Who is shaping these rules and how they're interpreted and enforced? who is pushing for the mine to open and who is fighting to protect the rivers, the forest, and the cultural heritage of the whole region. First, Perpetua Resources, the company behind the mine, the one that uses NEPA and Forest Service permitting processes to argue that the mine can be developed responsibly, that they can restore legacy damage, that they can create jobs and extract strategic minerals for the whole nation. The mine represents an economic opportunity for them. Next, we have federal regulators. Agencies such as the U.S. Forest Service enforces key laws such as the National Forest Management Act. And in this case, the Forest Service can be considered the lead agency because the mine sits on federal land. They actually completed the NEPA environmental impact statement process very recently, and in January of 2025 approved the Stibnite Gold project. But this approval is now facing serious pushback from a lot of other actors. For example, different environmental NGOs, such as the Idaho Conservation League and the Idaho Rivers United, have advocated for protection of the Salmon River ecosystem, as well as for the prevention of any new pollution being created. They monitor compliance and they mobilize the public with awareness. This can be seen in the next testimony.
If this project happens a generation from now, what do you think this portion of the country looks like?
I see a huge scar at the headwaters of the South Fork of the Salmon. I see what could be a sterile river. With the mining company and the area that they'll be working in and all of the different conditions that are there, it's not a question of if a spill is ever going to occur or if an accident's ever going to occur. It's a matter of when.
Both state and federal policymakers are actually the ones constantly having to navigate this tension between promoting economic growth and protecting the natural environment. Their decisions shape the regulatory environment that the mine has to operate in, from funding infrastructure to determining how aggressive the environmental enforcement is actually going to be. This similar tension is replicated by local residents who are far from unified. Some community members welcome the mine because of jobs, tax dollars, and business economic growth. Others are deeply concerned about the health risks, the water contamination, and the long-term ecological damage that could hurt outdoor recreation, fisheries, and quality of life overall. Finally, we have the Nez Perce tribe, whose connection to this land is far older than the mine itself. They're not just any other stakeholder. They are a sovereign nation with treaty-protected fishing rights and deep cultural ties to the headwaters of the Salmon River. The tribe has constantly pushed back against the project, challenging the Forest Service's approval in federal court and demanding stronger protections of water, wildlife, and sacred sites.
The tribe claims the project threatens the water quality as well as various species under the Endangered Species Act. That includes Chinook salmon, steelhead, and bull trout.
We've had to sustain so much loss already with many other impacts that have happened to the land, the utter transformation of this landscape, and one more impact could be too much for us to sustain.
It's an enormous mine, and it's going to increase almost over 2 times the size as it is now. Right down there. We evaluated what they were trying to propose, and at the scale of what they're trying to do, the tribe just had no other choice but to just oppose this project in its entirety.
This issue continues to be deeply divided. At the beginning of the current Trump administration, there was a strong support for mining projects like Stibnite, framed as part of a broader vision to expand domestic energy and resource extraction, as well as reducing reliance on foreign minerals and promoting rural economic growth. In this sense, agencies under his administration are encouraged to streamline permitting, sometimes at the expense of efficiency. In the meantime, as initial construction activities begin, community members and tribe representatives are becoming increasingly vocal. They're still raising concerns, they're attending public meetings, they're submitting their comments and pushing back against what they see as an incomplete review and an unethical project. The fate of Stibnite is not written yet. The subsequent decisions will determine whether it becomes a legacy for future generations to thrive upon, or a cautionary tale that they can only reflect on.